Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Sam. I hope all of you are doing super great today. If you are excited for this, the iPhone 11 pictured right here for the very first time, drop a like down below and of course, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any other Apple news. This is courtesy of OnLeaks. I want to talk about some other rumors as well. Let's go ahead and jump in. There's so much to talk about. Now, first up, I gotta thank who provided these images again. OnLeaks and Digit were able to source these images and then shared them for all of us. So massive shout out to them. As always, I'll leave a link to where you can read the full article, see the full images, see the full video down below. When OnLeaks shares something, it tends to be true. Now, as always, there is a disclaimer here. This is only in the EVT stage, so the engineering validation test stage, I believe, making sure that this phone will actually work or be feasible, I would assume at scale. So things could change, but we gotta talk about the elephant in the room here. Are you seeing those 3 cameras or am I seeing double? Because this is one of the weirdest configurations for an iPhone ever, and I cannot tell you how I feel about it just yet. Because first impression, this is the worst iPhone design I've ever seen. Second impression, maybe there's a reason it looks like this. Maybe it's functionally created like this because in the article from OnLeaks and Digit, and also what we've been hearing from Bloomberg a while back, the new 2019 iPhones could have advanced 3D camera features, meaning they'd be able to possibly scan a room with 3 different cameras and create a virtual map of that room to assist in augmented reality or virtual reality. But just looking at this design, I don't know if that's worth it. And on top of those 3D sensing functionalities or those 3D mapping capabilities, I think there's also a very good chance that Apple could add 3x zoom to this iPhone lens as well. You got 1x on your standard wide-angle lens, 2x on your current telephoto lens that we have right now. I think it's very possible that Apple could add a second 3x telephoto lens, so you'd be able to optically zoom at 3x of where you're standing. I think that's a very practical application. Apple has invested a lot in AR and VR, and I have not seen it pay off that much just yet. I'm sure that they are working on something much bigger for the technology in the future with AR and VR. I mean, there's some cool apps. I've tried them out before. I just haven't fallen in love with anything, but 3x zoom, being able to stand in one spot and 3 times zoom on something would be dope. Let me know your thoughts on how this looks down below. I saw a lot of really good renders for how the 2019 iPhones with a triple lens setup could look. Look at this. Look at that. A pretty standard, pretty safe design leap there. This is like a design exploration. This is like Apple went to Mars to source these iPhone cameras because they're super, super crazy looking. I want to zoom in on this camera module just to really take a look at what's going on here. So there are 3 lenses arranged in a triangle, and then sort of like complete the parallelogram in the top right-hand corner is the flash. Now, looking at this for what it is, the rear camera module on what should be the 2019 iPhone 11, I have some questions just because the design here looks totally off. Like, nothing about this screams symmetric or really aesthetically pleasing. It just looks like Apple threw 3 lenses in a triangle on there and then threw the flash in the top right. I feel like it would have made much more sense to do like a square design, so lens, 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 and then flash in the bottom right, and then maybe microphone in the middle. It's sort of strange here, and as pointed out in the article, there is a microphone in the same module, sort of hidden next to one of the cameras. There is the new True Tone flash, and there are 3 cameras. So we have a good look at this, and it's clear that Apple is going to be pushing the camera forward. We're hearing as of right now, as of today basically, that is going to be the biggest upgrade for the 2019 iPhone 11. It doesn't sound like 2019 is going to be nearly as marginal as of a year as 2018, which is so good to hear. Like, Apple definitely needs to do something wild in 2019, and maybe that's what they had in mind when I said wild. I was looking for some other details that we can maybe discern about this phone, and honestly, it doesn't look like anything totally crazy. While the camera is definitely what draws your attention on the back, you've got your normal Apple logo. It is going to have a glass back again, so you get that really cool looking finish whenever you're doing these renders or whenever the iPhone is shined in a certain light. On the side here, you have your standard pretty fat sleep, wake, or power button, and also you can see that antenna band at the top. Now, on the side of this iPhone, there's also no way to tell if this is going to be stainless steel, but I don't assume Apple switches back to aluminum on their ultra premium high-end iPhones. I would assume glass back, stainless steel on the sides, of course, color matched to the color of the device, and I hope we see more colors for the flagship iPhones. Apple's kept it very exclusive to gold, silver, and space gray. But I think a product red iPhone 11 with this setup would be so good looking. What we do not get to see here that I was dying to see, I'm sure you were dying to see this as well, the front of the phone. Because we've been hearing that the notch could get smaller. I was so excited to see if that was going to be the case, but at this time, I guess not even OnLeaks or Digit know for sure. Nobody knows for sure what Apple's going to do with the notch exactly. We have some renders from iDrop News sort of visualizing what it could look like, and I think this is a very realistic approach. Over on Twitter, Benjamin Gaskin, who shared some stuff in the past, has also kind of given it this take of how the front of the iPhone 11 could look, but we don't know for sure, and at this point, that's all speculation. That's all based on rumors, where the back of the iPhone, the side now, this is largely confirmed. I'm still totally blown away that you guys don't realize how early this is. It is January 6th. 9 months almost ahead, over 9 months ahead of when Apple's going to release the new 2019 iPhones, and we know what the major upgrade on the back is. That's crazy. It's super exciting. Cannot wait to see what other details we see, because if we're learning this early, I can only imagine what other things we're going to be learning early as well, which is super exciting. And I think this kind of hype and excitement is exactly what Apple needs when their stock price is a little bit low and pessimism for the company feels to be at an all-time high. Now I want to shift over to some other news that we've been hearing that I wanted to save for an iPhone update video, because I found this particularly interesting. It's shared in a Forbes column from an analyst named Jean-Baptiste Su that I've never actually heard of before, but there seems to be some weight placed behind this analyst, so we'll see if any of this pans out. I want to share it nonetheless. They shared 3 predictions in this article. 1 makes sense, 2 sort of makes sense, the third one is a total shot in the dark, I feel. Number 1, they're saying a smaller notch on the 2019 iPhones. I think that that's pretty obvious. We've been hearing that for a while. Not much of a shocker there. Number 2, they're suggesting that the 2019 iPhones will have USB-C. Now, this is also something that we heard, I believe, from Digitimes a while back, and since the iPad Pro now has USB-C, could you imagine all your Apple devices, your MacBook, your iMac Pro, your iPhone, your iPad now using the same port? It would be so nice, and it's actually not unprecedented now that Apple has given it to an iOS device. Maybe we do get a switch of the port from Lightning to USB-C in 2019. Also, let me know down below if you'd be down for that. And third, this analyst suggests that Touch ID will be returning under the display to the iPhone 11, or at least some iPhone model in 2019. And while that would be super cool, I would love to see that. Seriously love, like dual authentication of some sort. I think that'd be really dope. I'm highly skeptical just because Apple switched to Face ID like 2 years ago now. I don't think they're going to completely like switch to biometrics or even add a new one next year. But again, I feel like we're all speculating here, whether it's from that analyst or whether it's from me. I don't think anybody knows for sure at this point, which is okay. Definitely place most weight on the smaller notch, some weight on the USB-C port, and I would say the lightest amount of weight on the fact that it's going to get Touch ID again in the display. Again, it'd be dope, but not a lot of precedent for Apple to do that, just because they've never had 2 forms of authentication. But maybe 2019 is the year that they switch that and they add something crazy, maybe to really wow the market and gain people's attention again. This 2019 iPhone is going to be like the biggest upgraded iPhone ever year over year. I want to see that. I hope you do too. And finally, one last rumor to cap off this video is that the 2019 iPhones could get thinner and lighter according to ET News. Now, ET News, I feel like throws a lot of stuff out there and a lot of it doesn't end up coming true. This one could be though, because the iPhones could become thin and lighter due to new Samsung display technology, and it is very possible that Apple could switch up the display tech this year. I just hope that the battery life does not suffer because of it. Apple has been making the iPhones a little bit thicker over a number of years just because they wanted to give customers better battery life, and that was the best way to do it because there's more space for a battery. And I've always found it ironic that on the surface, Apple and Samsung appear to be huge enemies that don't get along, that are constantly fighting each other, but Apple also buys a ton of iPhone parts from Samsung. And in 2019, it could be the display, and maybe Samsung's tech could actually help the iPhone look really sleek and really cool. cool. I just hope the battery life doesn't worsen because of this. All right, guys, so that is all the news I wanted to share with you in this video. I gotta hear your thoughts on all of this down below in the comments section. What are your thoughts on this crazy new camera setup? Touch ID coming under the display. Are we getting a USB-C port? Is the notch getting any smaller? I don't know. I can't answer these questions now, but just thinking about them gets me very excited for the next 9 months we're going to be going through of iPhone leaks and rumors. So if you enjoyed this, drop a like down below, and of course subscribe for more like this in the future. I've been Sam. I hope all of you are doing great, and I'll catch you all in my next iPhone update.